Hello, everybody, and welcome to DRL TV. I'm your host, James Pandolf. Joining me tonight is Ben Izenga. How are you doing tonight, Ben?
I'm pretty good, James. I'm excited to see some close racing here at Bristol tonight. We saw a pretty good one last night, so hopefully that can carry over to tonight. We'll see some pretty good laps in these trucks.
Absolutely, 150 laps here tonight on the .533 mile racetrack. 78 degrees, 1% humidity, and a northerly wind of 2 to 3 miles per hour. Right now on track, qualifying, is Austin Collins in the 98 truck. He showed some speed last week at Texas, seeing if he can continue here tonight at Bristol. 3 minutes 20 seconds left in qualifying. Currently Austin is third with a 15.431. Looking at the practice times, Ben, who stood out to you? Who are you going to keep your eye on out tonight?
I really like Tom Harmon. He's a Grand National Series driver that we see here jumping out of the Truck Series tonight. He did really well in the race last night. He really likes to bottom here at this track, and a lot of other guys like to gravitate out to the wall. We saw him last night really running the bottom pretty nicely. He got caught up in a wreck late in the race, but he was running pretty well inside the top five. So I'm excited to see what he can do. We see him second on the board right now. We also noticed that these qualifying times are a couple tenths off of what we saw in practice. We saw this last night too. Once the track gets rubbered in, it starts to hold a lot more grip, and you can run up to 3/10 faster just because of the rubber on the track. So we'll see how that plays into maybe longer runs here tonight at this track.
As we're watching David Lindahl, you heard him have to book that throttle off the corner exit as the back end got out from under him. Currently 7th qualifying as he's attempting his second lap. Richard Springer bumped off Thomas Harmon for the full lap for the meantime with 2 minutes left. Still a lot can happen. David Lindahl 8th on the board at the end of his qualifying effort. Who else do we have on track? The 93 of Scott Griswold, he's going to start in the back of this one. Corey Sherman attempting his qualifying. He's going to begin his first lap as he's going through turns 3 and 4 now.
James, you mentioned Austin Collins earlier and who was running his lap. We saw him and his teammate Jarrett Rogers making really, really good strides last week at Texas. They led between them most of the race. We saw a lot of speed out of that team, so I'm interested to see. We don't see them up at the top of the board, but we see Jarrett Rogers in 5th, Austin Collins in 7th. So we'll see if that momentum can help them carry through tonight's race and get a solid run for both of those guys.
Absolutely, Jarrett Rogers, last week's winner. That win will lock him into the playoffs. Dakota Wilkins, it's not on track at the moment. We'll see if he'll be able to attempt a qualifying lap. If I'm not mistaken, he's not even in the lobby at this point, so going to keep an eye on that developing story. Andrew York made his 2020 return last week. He's looking to start in the back of this one as you see him starting to roll and cross the start-finish line with 35 seconds left in the session. Jared Gordon, last second qualifying effort out of the 82 truck. We'll see what kind of lap time he can post. Cause the start-finish line in 23rd. He'll have enough time to complete the second lap, and that'll be about it for this qualifying for the Bristol Motor Speedway 150 in the Dynasty Racing League Truck Series. Looks like it will be a 23rd starting position for that 82 truck. Cody Gasky finally crosses the line. 32nd will be where he starts tonight. So with that being said, our pole sitter, Richard Springer, let's see if we can pull him in.
I got him here. Richard Springer, it's JP and Ben Ising in the broadcast booth.
Hey boys, how you doing?
Not too bad. We saw you post your fastest time there in qualifying, beating out a couple of guys by a pretty good margin. What do you think for?
Oh boy, I have no idea what to think. It's kind of hard to save here because you get back in the pack, so I'll probably have to run harder than I really want to. So we'll have to see. If some guys want to go by and there's a spot, I might slot in there. We'll have to see. So it's going to be rough. I'd like to be optimistic, but I'm not really that optimistic. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we saw last night kind of the high and low line start to divide themselves apart. Guys really starting to pick either one. What do you think for tonight? Which line?
Maybe I should split the difference. I run the middle. Sounds like a bad place to be to me, but we'll see. I'll have to try them both probably. When you pass, you probably have to go low anyway, so it's worth giving it a shot. See what it'll do for you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for talking to us, JP. You got anything?
Good luck out there, Richard. It's going to be quite a battle out there with this many trucks on track. The good news is aerodynamics won't really matter that much. So go out there, beat some fenders, and hopefully we'll talk to you at the end of this one.
I have your permission to be rough. Very good.
Alrighty, sir.
All right, thanks, man. Have a good broadcast.
Thank you. As we continue on with the starting grid, 27th, Dominic Mangione, Sideus Jackson in the 28th position, Scott Griswold, 29th, and Andrew York rounds out the top 30. 31st is David Wellborn Jr., Cody Gasky alongside him in 32nd. 33rd will be Dakota Wilkins, and Ted Emenheiser starting in the 34th position. And that'll do it for tonight's grid. 34 trucks will be taking the green flag. And it will be led by Richard Springer. Richard Springer already a multi-time winner this season. Looking to add another one. Keep it clean for these 150 laps.
I'm interested to see what Richard can do tonight because we've seen the last few races that he's done really well, and he kind of likes to drop back at the start and save his tires a little bit. But here, it's not really an option. Kind of get eaten up by guys behind you if you start to fall back. And freight train is a pretty good word for it. So we'll see if he's able to save his stuff like he likes to, but stay out front where it's safe too.
Pace car is going to be ducking off when they enter turns 3 and 4. Steven Sims alongside Richard Springer. Steven Sims has shown speed, just has yet to pick up that win. He'll be looking to do so tonight. And pace car ducks off. Richard Springer leads him to the line, and we are green here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Great stuff going on for all of these guys.
We see Thomas Herman already try to work the bottom. Steven Sim gets a little bit loose in the 3.
Yeah, you saw right behind them. Corey Sherman was actually on the apron, but all as well as they're able to complete the first lap on the green. You see the front two really working that high side while Thomas Harmon is staying on that low side of the track. Patrick Calgo in 31. He's right behind the 68 of Thomas Harmon.
He's top 5, all single file for the most part. Side by side for 6th place further in the pack.
Yeah, that's Jim Westerfield in the 35 and Adam Fury in the 29. Dustin Eichert, David Lindahl right behind both of them. As Eichert hits the wall a little bit, you'll see that a lot throughout the night. As these guys try to get as much as they can, as much momentum as they can off of these corners.
And James, we both know it well. You want to be as close to this wall as possible to get as much speed down these straightaways, but it's tough to stay up there for as many laps as these guys are running. So we have caution out without tagging the wall.
Caution is out if we can identify who that was.
Looks like Hayden Askey's around in the front.
And
There's the 4-car Brett King caught too.
Going to go on board with these two. On board with the 16, right in front of him is Ben Kincott. They're going to be going through turns 3 and 4 right now, side by side. Coming off the corner, it looks like the 4 was in the middle lane and the 16 was coming up off the corner, and the 4 just He didn't expect Brent Kincott to still be there.
Yeah, that's going to happen a lot tonight too. These guys just looking for the same real estate. It's a tight track. It's a really narrow track, so coming off turn 4 on the top, you really want to diamond that turn to get as much speed as possible going, and when you have someone below you, it's tough for them to stay all the way down, so that's going to happen a couple times tonight.
Pretty big impact there for the Ford truck of Brent Kincott. We'll see how much damage that might have given his truck. As it looks like Richard Springer decides to stay out, as does a good amount of the field. It looks like through the top 20 all stayed out.
Yeah, and something that I noticed last night myself when I was running in the Grand National Series race, once this track gets rubbered in, it'll use your tires a little bit less on these first couple laps of a run, but the first few laps of a race, we're 9 laps in, and it'll knock a couple percent per lap off just running on this brand new track on this green track. So these guys have got to be careful not to scrub them too hard, and the guys further in the back might have a little bit of an advantage just because they've got these fresh tires here.
Brent Kincott still on pit road, over 100 seconds and counting. I believe we will be getting the 1-to-go signal here from iRacing. Richard Springer electing the outside line. That'll put Steven Sims to the inside. Row 2 is Thomas Herman, Patrick Cowgill. Jarrett Rogers rounds out the top 5 with Jim Westerfield right next to him. Pace car is off once again. Richard Springer will lead him to the green. A great restart there by the 21. He has a 3-truck advantage heading down into number 1.
Side by side for 3rd place.
Yeah, Patrick Cowgill had a great restart there. And with that momentum, it looks like he'll be able to clear the 68. And be the sole possessor of 3rd place. Jim Westerfield able to take 4th away. That'll single out the top 5. With the 29 of Adam Freed to the inside of the 9. A little bit farther back, Corey Sherman, Dustin Eichert are battling it out for the 11th position. A little contact there with Rod Fosner and David Wright.
Ronnie Outlaw looking for that spot too, right behind Rod Fosner on the bottom.
Ooh, contact once again with the 10 and the 42. David Wright's able to clear Fosnar, and that's for 13th.
Ronnie Outlaw looking to the inside of Rod Fosnar. David Wright looking to the inside of Dustin Eichert. He's going to take that spot away.
Yeah, David Wright on the move right now. Easily getting by that 7.
Boston on the next one to get by the 7 or doesn't. And Ronnie Outlaw.
I could almost got into the back of 51, had to slam on the brakes there, right behind them. Mangione goes around, 18 of York, 83 of Wingfield, and the caution is out. Oh, it looks like some net code there with Dakota Wilkins. See if we can see that one more time. They just stack up behind them.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing that happens here, because a little bit of damage like that 66 just barely going around, he collects it. With a little bit of help, he collects it, and these guys just stack up behind them because there's not a lot of area to go. Once things start to happen in front of you, and they just start stacking up into the wall.
As you saw right there, on board with Adam Pasilda in that incident. Let's see if we can watch that from Andrew York's point of view. Absolutely nowhere to go for the 18. As the leaders again stay out. Last night's Grand National Series race had 10 total cautions. How many do you think we might get out of this one tonight, Ben?
I mean, this race is a little bit shorter, but we've already seen the top 10 start to get a little bit patient. They're all kind of single filing out in these restarts, so it might run a little bit better than last night. We see a lot larger field here tonight. These guys look pretty content with just riding for the most part throughout the field. So 150 laps here tonight, thinking probably 6 cautions or so. These guys look pretty content so far.
Yeah, this series all season long has been pretty content. We've had a few caution-free races, and I think last week might have been the most cautions in a race this season, and we've already done 8 races. These guys have been off to a phenomenal start. All these drivers seem comfortable around one another.
And it definitely takes a lot throughout the field, because you see these faster guys, they're obviously more experienced. They find it a lot easier to run a little bit safer around one another. Further back in the field, we tend to see a lot closer racing, maybe less experienced drivers somewhere. So it's sometimes tougher for those guys, especially in this lower series in Dynasty Racing League, for them to figure it out. But they've done a fantastic job this year, staying safe and staying caution-free.
As we're going to get the 1 to go signal, Richard Springer once again will be on the outside lane. Top 5 basically staying the same on this restart. The only difference is Patrick Calgo took over that 3rd position over Thomas Harmon, who will begin this one on the outside.
And I talked before the race about how Tom really likes to run that bottom line. He loves to hook that bottom right around the corners. So I know he doesn't want to be on the top. He really hates restarting on the top. So we'll see what he can do here to clear himself and get down to the bottom.
Pace car ducks off. Richard Springer with another phenomenal restart.
Thomas Harmon looking for 2nd from Steven Sims. The big launch off turn 2. He's going to clear that 45 easily to take 2nd place. Now he's down to the bottom once.
Lindahl's able to get around the 9 of Jarrett Rogers. Tanner Sinead going to try to follow suit.
Top 6 single files out for the most part. You see further back.
Oh, big wiggle there by all 4 of those drivers. As Rogers is able to find a hole and get to the top, is Faree, who's stuck on the bottom as the 51 of Outlaw looks to pass him.
And Adam Free looks to be pretty comfortable on that bottom. He's making pretty decent time. He's not getting freight trained like we've seen with some other guys who get stuck on the bottom. So maybe he's learning a little bit for the rest of the...
As he's able to find that hole as the 51 does clear him. Caution is out. Again, that is in the back of the pack. Not quite sure who that was on.
Looks like Ted Emmenheiser was in it.
Emmenheiser, if we can see if we can find that. iRacing might not give it to us. Looks like we will not be able to bring it to you.
Emmenheiser and Wellborn looks like they got together on the backstretch. Ended up spinning through the turn, stacking up a couple guys behind them.
Yeah, you see right there the 96 blinks out. It looks like we won't be able to bring that replay to you. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
Looks like Ted Emmenheiser is actually going to get trapped a lap down because of where the pace car came in.
You can see significant damage to that back bumper of the 8.
And he had a pretty good spin out there in the corner. David Wellborn actually catching some maritime over his hood. The 8 car is going to bring it down pit road, get some of that damage. Leader staying out again. You see the field double file up. If the 68 of Harmon can get a good restart and stay alongside the 21 of Springer, you might have a shot at passing him through turn 1 and 2. As you mentioned, and we've seen that Thomas Harmon really enjoys that bottom line. He might be able to have something for the 21. Yeah, it looks to me like as this track starts to darken up and rubber in, the bottom side's getting a little bit faster because we've seen Thomas Harmon really start to struggle early in this race, and now he's really keeping up with Richard Springer, the leaders.
And green flag once again for the 21. Another great restart, but Harmon was able to stick with him only less than half a truck length, and there goes the 68 to the inside. He's going to try to make something side by side across the start finish line. Wiggle there for the 68 of Harmon, though. That's going to give a slight advantage to Richard Springer. He might be able to clear him, and it looks like he will. The 68 has to tuck in behind him.
And we've seen the second place guy really struggle on these restarts.
Jim Westfield's around. Oh, big traffic jam. Big wreck behind him.
A lot of guys stacking into that.
See if we can
You see 6 cars around in turn 1.
on board with the 35 of Jim Westfield. Ghani Outlaws 2, his outside coming off of turn 4. And a bit of neck hold there. You saw that gap between the 2 trucks. And all the drivers behind just piling it in. You can see the mayhem happening. Let's see if we can go on board with the 82 of Jared Gordon.
There's a lot of trucks that piled into that wreck.
You see the smoke out in front and just nowhere to go. You see Dustin Eichen in front of him on the apron.
Something that's tough about Bristol, especially in these trucks, because the larger spoilers, they're really large vehicles. So, especially at Bristol, you're tucked up behind someone pretty well when you're racing near them, because you want to be as close as possible to them. And when something happens like that in front of you, you can't see anything, and you have nowhere to go once you find it. So it's tough to avoid that stuff, and unfortunately, it provides us with a lot of pileups like that.
Of the drivers who have started this race, only 7 of them have yet to pit. That is the top 7, of course. All on 41 lap old tires.
Yeah, and we're talking about this track getting rubbered in. It worries me that these guys are on such old tires, because yeah, they're the fastest 7 in the field, and that's been pretty evident all night, but these tires get scrubbed really bad when this track isn't rubbered in like we run in this league. So when this track isn't rubbered in, these tires get scrubbed up real bad, and it's not good once these tires start to get older. On this rubbered in track, these other guys have new tires, and they're going to track them down pretty quickly.
We're about to go racing once again. Definitely keep an eye on the 68. I think he might have something on this restart for that 21.
Yeah, I think as long as he can get fired off well enough, he's going to have a pretty good shot at Richards.
Race car's off. The 21 is off. Oh, great restart there by the 21. The 68 must have had a little bit of wheel spin, or he just wasn't ready, as the 21 was able to clear him easily.
Thomas Harwin with a massive run off turn 2 down the backstrap. And he's going to get up alongside Richard Springer through 3 and 4. Caution back out again. Looks like that's going to be further back in the field.
Looks like Robbie Armstrong, you see that there, folks. 58 of Purcell, the 98 of Collins, all involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of trucks that got piled into that one too. We saw, who was that? I think that was William Wingfield get in the back of Adam Purcell and push him into that wreck. That's just like what I was talking about before. When you're right tucked up behind someone, you can't see anything. And when they start to check up, there's nothing. You see several trucks get damaged in that one. Justin Nitrate was running up front. He's got some damage from that. Austin Collins, well.
When we go back racing, we will have 50 laps complete, 100 to go.
These top few guys still haven't pitted, so these tires are getting really old. A lot of heat cycles on them. Field's getting stacked up once again and getting ready to go. Thomas Herman on the inside, Richard Springer on the outside. We might have had some trouble stacking up the field back in the pack.
Yeah, it looks like pace car lights have come on for a delayed restart.
Looks like some cars coming out of the pits just didn't get their restart order right, so we'll try that one.
This will be the 50th lap complete. If I'm not mistaken, I think Richard Springer's led all 50.
Sounds about right. Pace cars up. Richard Springer away again.
Another great launch for the 21.
That topside's really treating him well on these restarts. Thomas Harmon not as big as a run as he's gotten the last couple times down the back stretch. He's going to dive into turn 3. Looks like Thomas Harmon's starting to struggle coming off the bottom of turn 4. So moves up the racetrack.
There goes the 9
Garrett
Jared
Rogers.
Rogers. Oh, big check up there, Lindahl, and then 29 almost ran into the back of him.
That 9 truck's going to clear Patrick Cowgill for the 4th position. David Wright looking for position number 6. David Lindahl. He's going to take that. Adam Free also looking to the bottom.
Oh,
David Lindahl.
29 made contact with the... Oh, what a save for Adam Free.
He's going to collect that and only
Oh,
lose
the
2
6 is
spots.
round, though. Corey Sherman gets tapped by the 10 into the inside wall. Let's see what happened, if that might have been a reaction to the 29. Looks like...
Yeah, James. Looks like that might have been a result of what happened to Adam Free. A little bit ahead of these guys. They were just checking up in the middle of the corner and he got tagged by Rod Fosna. Round he goes into the bottom.
You see the front end of the 6 pretty beat up. Not sure how much damage he might have taken hitting that inside wall. But very unfortunate for the 6 of Corey Sherman. Some of the leaders faking their way onto pit lane.
I don't think Richard Springer is interested in giving up this lead.
Yeah, the safest place you can be is in the front.
If I'm not mistaken, Jarrett Rogers is the first one to have fresh tires, I believe.
According to my scoring, the first driver with newer tires than the 58 lap tires would be David Wright, who's on 36 lap tires.
Okay. We saw both those guys making pretty big moves in that restart. They're the 42 David Wright and the 9 Jarrett Rogers. Up into the 4th position now. David Wright started 16th up to 6th already. It's a great start for him. Along with Adam Breedham, started 26th up to 10th. These trucks are going to double up, get ready to go green again. Richard Springer taking the outside. Thomas Harmon on the followed by Jarrett Rogers in his newfound 4th position on the top side, and Steven Sims maintaining that 3rd. The pace car is going to drop off, ready to go green again. Richard Springer fires off.
Another great restart for Springer.
Thomas Harmon again going to get cleared. And these top 4 are going to fall single file again. Thomas Harmon looking for that 1st position. Springer's not going to let him take it, drives away off.
David Wright almost making a 3 wide. Cowgill was to his inside. Cowgill falling back, however. David Wright advances position. Now to the inside of Jerry Rogers.
We see Tom Harmon not falling too far back from Richard Springer. Steven Sims also not falling too far back off Thomas Harmon, so these guys are not giving each other an inch so far.
Yeah, the top 7 single filed out.
We see a couple guys further back kind of using the Thomas Harmon strategy, using that bottom lane. Terrence Ney, Adam Freeboat doing it.
Shanae is one of those drivers on fresher tires, 30 lap fresher tires than the front 4 drivers.
And we see the top 8 start to break away from 9th position. Adam Breeden.
little bit farther back in the back. David Lindahl, Dakota Wilkins, Robbie Armstrong, Cody Barber, and the 98 of Austin Collins all battling around the top 10. Jim Westerfield, who we saw up inside the top 5 earlier, he's currently in the 16th position.
Westfield battling with a couple of guys that we've seen running fast, but involved in wrecks. Austin Collins, one of them. Robbie Armstrong, one of them too. It's getting pretty tight for these top 3 guys. Three-tenths of a second separating the top 3 drivers last time. Thomas Harmon looks at the bottom. Richard Springer, not going to make it happen again. Going to fall back in line.
Well, almost to the back bumper, David Wright. Momentum through the middle of the corner to the back end of Rogers. Had to check up heavily not to make contact.
We've seen David Wright run really, really high in 3 and 4. He's about an inch away from that wall, just using every little bit of racetrack that he can get to get all the momentum he can get down this front stretch. Make up some time on Jarrett Rogers' 4th place. And the top 6 have broken away by a second and a half to 7th and 8th position. Terrence Day and Adam Free, who have developed a little bit of a gap to the guys behind them. Daniel Holloway, David Linda, Dakota Wilkins back there in 11th. We haven't seen him much tonight.
For the first time tonight, the leaders have lap traffic ahead of them. We'll see how these guys play it out, and hopefully, not very friendly as the 21 had to avoid the 66. That might open the door for the 68.
We see 4th position, Jarrett Rogers getting some trouble with that 66 truck too. Just about getting the back bumper. Steven Sims there.
It's top 5.
David Wright taking advantage.
Top 5 are able to clear him. That could have ended badly, but Richard Springer was able to maintain the lead for now. That did help close the gap between 4th, 5th, and 3rd as Steven Sims has fallen back from the top 2. Jarrett Rogers is now in the hunt for 3rd position.
We see Dakota Wilkins walking through this field up in 9th place now, looking to make a move on Adam Free. Dakota started 33rd tonight. After not posting a qualifying time. He's working that bottom lane really nicely, trying to get around that 29 truck. Oh, looks like a little bit of contact there after turn 2. He's going to keep that truck together. He's going to clear Adam Free, setting his sights on Terrence Ney. 7th. He's going to make it happen just like that.
That's going to allow the 44 to clear him. Looks like Springer's been able to gap the 68 a little bit. about almost a full second is the gap between first and second. Oh, the 83's in the wall. That made the 68 really check up there.
See a caution come out. Who is that on the front? Looks like the 66 truck.
Yep.
Dominic Mangione.
We'll see if we can catch what happened. I believe he was blinking out when he crossed the start finish line. As you see him go through 3 and 4 here. Oh, the 29 Faree made contact with him. And then
Looks like Mangione was planning on coming down a little bit more than Adam Faree wanted him to, and was looking for the same real estate. We saw that earlier. 3 and 4 can get really tight. These guys all looking for the same line. It's a pretty one-groove racetrack off of that turn. There's not a lot of grip wide open there.
And it looks like the leaders are finally going to pit 9 laps on their current set of tires. Now, for those of you that don't know, these guys have to enter the pits on the back stretch and go all the way around to the front stretch to enter their pit stall, excuse me.
That's something that can make it pretty difficult once you have damage on your truck, because unlike a lot of other tracks where you can enter the pits and fix your damage, wait for the pace car to come back around, and then fix as much of that damage as possible, you spend most of that lap just entering and exiting the pits, so you can't really wait for that pace car to come back to you before you're out of time, and you got to get out of your pit stall before you lose. It's a very long way around pit road at this point.
Here's off pit road, and if I'm not mistaken, it looks like Dakota Wilkins was the driver to win.
Looks like Richard Springer, Daniel Holloway, and Thomas Harmon going to come off. 4th off of the pit road. Sounds like race control giving a warning to Richard Springer on his restarts. Sounded like he might have gone a little bit early that last time. Dakota Wilkins, I said his name earlier, he was walking through the top 10 like it was nobody's business. Now he's up front after a bit of a pick. Leading this race for the first time.
This will be the first time all night that Richard Springer is not in control of the restart. We'll see what Dakota Wilkins will be able to do as pace car is getting ready to duck off. And as you mentioned, new face in the top 3, Daniel Holloway in the 26. We'll see what he'll be able to do. Green flag is out. Dakota Wilkins with a nice restart. Richard Springer having a little bit of trouble. That's going to open the door for the 68. Thomas Harmon to clear him on the backstretch.
This is the first time all night Thomas Harmon's been able to clear that 21 truck, so maybe he'll be able to keep it that way for the remainder of the... Jarrett Rogers also able to clear 21 truck. Richard. And the top 4 are going to single file out for now.
Holloway having major trouble as a lot of drivers are passing him. Steven Sims going to his outside now. Gonna drop Holloway to 8th, possibly 9th if the 10's able to get around.
He's going to look to fit in that gap behind Rod Fosnaugh, trying not to lose yet another spot. Jim Westerfield back there in the back half the top.
And now looking for the lead, the 68 of Harmon.
Harmon really closing the gap off turn 2 that time. Looks like Thomas Harmon's really able to get good runs down the front stretch. Off of turn. He's going to look to the bottom once again. And he sticks at the quarter panel down the back stretch. Loses that time off turn 4. Jarrett Rogers now to the outside of Thomas Harmon.
We have 50 laps to go here at Bristol. Dakota Wilkins is your leader.
Thomas Harmon looking at the bottom once again. On Dakota Wilkins in turn 1. Doesn't look like he's going to make it stick. Drops back in line.
Rogers to third.
Springer loses a lot of time trying the bottom in 3 and 4 that time. As the leaders approach a lap car, it's William Wingfield. That provides Thomas Harmon with an advantage. Looking to the inside, Dakota Wilkins once again. Seems like he's just struggling to get off turn 4 on that bottom side. Dakota Wilkins getting great launches off turn 4 from the top. And once again, top 4, you can put a blanket over him. Seems like it doesn't matter who it is. Richard Springer looking to the inside, Jarrett Rogers. Just like Thomas Harmon, can't make a stick off turn 4.
And a caution once again. Was that the 8 or the 27? No, neither. I'm not sure who that was. Oh, it was the 81. See if we can see what happened. Coming off of turn 2, it looks like the 01 is going to give him a little love tap off the corner. Make contact with that inside wall right in front of the leaders.
A heavy hit on the bottom. He comes up onto the track in a pretty sketchy spot. Yeah, that's another tough part about this track being so small and so narrow. When you get spun around, you hit that inside wall with a lot of speed. Tends to provide a pretty good bit of engine damage to these trucks. And it looks like the leaders coming down pit road. Nope.
Oh, they all faked.
Faked me out.
We have 40 to go. We have 18 drivers. Going to be 19 as you saw the 29 get his wave around. 19 drivers on the lead lap.
Adam Free getting his lap back. He's back on the lead lap. 20 trucks on the lead lap.
Pace car should be given the 1-to-go signal this time by for Dakota Wilkins, who will be choosing the outside lane.
Seems like the outside lane's able to fire off really well on these restarts. These trucks are going to stack up. We're going to restart with 35 laps to go. Pace car down. Go to Wilkins, takes green flag. Looks like that third row had a pretty bad restart. There was a pretty decent gap between the top four and the rest of the...
Yeah, I saw that too. Because we have David Rice in 5th, Patrick Calgo dropping outside the top 5. Steven Sims in 7th, he's going to try to get back up inside the top 5. Does the top 10 single file out very early on in this restart. Going back up to the leader, Harmon going to try to make something happen. He has his nose to the inside. But
again, turn 4, making it hard on Thomas Harmon on the bottom. He's going to stick his nose into the bottom again.
Yeah, the outside just has so much momentum coming off of these corners.
Richard Springer is going to get to the back bumper of Thomas Harmon. Another caution. Oh, big pile up in turn 4. Massive pile. Looks like 7 trucks involved.
Jim Westerfield being one of them. Let's see if we can see.
It looks like that all started with Austin Collins and
oh yeah,
the 26 truck, Daniel Hall.
Let's see if we can see that one more time. Following the 98 of Austin Collins. Oh yeah, Holloway kind of squeezed the 98 into the wall, and that really slowed up the 26 and started the whole mess behind.
Just a huge pile up. Dustin Nykert in there, Sidarius Jackson, Jim Westerfield.
Yeah, 26 kept drifting up. 7 had no idea what was going on.
Corey Sherman in there again. The 39 of Dustin Jones. Yo, 1 truck sliding in. And it just kept going all the way to the front strip.
Going to be coming to the 25 laps to go mark on the restart.
Looks like the field's going to double up again this time. Dakota Wilkins once again taking the top side. Thomas Herman, second place. I have a feeling that if Thomas Harmon's ever able to get the lead of this race, he's not going to be given up very easily. He's fought really hard to get that lead. He hasn't even led a single lap yet today. And he's really struggling to get past the leader. His pace car goes down. Dakota Wilkins takes green.
Oh, Thomas Harmon really timed that well.
Yeah, Thomas Harmon stays at the inside Dakota Wilkins through 1 and 2, and he's even with him down the backstretch.
Ooh, they almost touched coming off the corner.
We'll see if he can stay with him down the front stretch, and he's not able to do it once again. Falls in line for second place. Jarrett Rogers behind him. Steven Springer back there in fourth. David Wright looking for fifth place from Patrick Cagill.
And another caution in the back of the pack.
Looks like Brent Kingcott's involved in that. Oh, that was a long-lasting wreck.
Oh yeah, Holloway with contact with the 01, the 4 and the 83, the 8, big pile up, many drivers involved.
Looks like the 26 of Holloway went to diamond that corner and just didn't notice that the 01 truck Adam Breeden was down there. Had some contact and then gets turned to the inside by Brett Kingcott. William Winfield gets involved, and then these guys wash out the track and take out several more trucks. That took out at least 10 trucks that time. Tiberius Jackson getting his lap back. That's going to put him 1 lap down. In 20th place.
Yeah, Tiberius Jackson actually missed the start of the race. He wasn't in the lobby. He had fallen through, but this would be a heck of a story if he's able to come back from the number of laps down that he was and get himself a top 10 finish.
I believe Dakota Wilkins also missed a start. Did he miss a start? I think he missed a start. He did not post a qualifying time. I'm not sure if he missed the start of this race or not. Oh no, he did not. He made the start of this race. Started dead last though, 33rd. Now he's leading this pack.
Will be 20 laps to go. Dakota Wilkins, Thomas Harmon, Jarrett Rogers, Richard Springer, Patrick Calgill is your top 5.
Field doubles up for hopefully the last time. We're looking at 18 laps to go. Dakota Wilkins once again leading them to the green flag. Thomas Harmon once again looking for that lap let. Base car comes off. Green flag's in the air. Richard Springer with a great restart getting to the outside of Thomas Harmon. Harmon's going to clear him through 1 and 2 though. Springer's going to take that third position. David Wright looking for fourth on the outside of Jared.
Oh, big contact. 42
David Wright
on the
in the
wall.
wall.
Stevenson nowhere to go. Oh, 32 and the big
Massive
wreck's
wreck.
happening. You know, I thought they were all going to be able to pull through on that. But at the very end of it, the 32 ended up getting hooked. See if you can see that real quick.
Yeah, it looks like Rod Fosnaugh trying to get to the inside of Steven Sims and Terrence Nair.
Yeah, with Stevenson's wiggling right in front of them, forced the 10 to jerk to the left, and the 32 ended up taking the hit. Very heavy
Terrence
contact.
Nair spun into Steven Sims, taking David Wright out again. That Austin Collins in there. The 6th, Corey Sherman. 81 truck we saw a wreck earlier. Lots of trucks involved. That's one of those wrecks that lasts a lifetime. That started off of turn 4 and it ends in the middle of 1 and 2 here.
The good news is that after this, the Truck Series will be heading to Chicagoland Speedway on Tuesday, April 14th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for 100 laps on the 1.5 mile track. It's going to be a fun race and the only race next week, as the Dynasty Racing League Grand National Series is actually off. So be sure to tune in next Tuesday to catch your Dynasty Racing League action here on DRL TV.
That's a great track, James. I really love watching these trucks at that track. They're a lot of fun to drive. They're a lot of fun to watch. They always put in a great show. Really excited to see that.
$15 laps to go. So far, no one's really had anything but Dakota Wilkins on the restarts. If these cautions keep flying, Dakota Wilkins might come away with the victory. And of course, you have Thomas Herman in second place. If he wins, it doesn't really mean anything for him. It's just another trophy, as he is a Grand National Series competitor. So the win doesn't count for points or playoffs or anything for that 68. And third place, Richard Springer. He already has 3 wins on the year. He's locked into the playoffs, as well as Jarrett Rogers in fourth. He won last week. Patrick Cowgill, he's looking for his first Dynasty Racing League win. He might be able to make something happen here in these closing laps.
We've seen some really promising runs from that 31 truck as of it's really high up in the standings, running really well lately.
14 trucks on the lead lap as we're winding down the laps. Dakota Wilkins will be leading them once again on this restart. Pace car getting ready to duck off to pit lane. And there he goes once again.
Thomas Herman well clear of the second row drivers. It's Jarrett Rogers' big run off the top,
Same
along with Adam Free.
Free might be able to clear Springer off of turn 4. That'll put him into fourth. Not quite able to do it yet. Springer hanging on tough.
Springer with a pretty good run off turn 4 that time. Further ahead, Thomas Harmon looking at the bottom. Can't make. Pulls up back in line. He snags that wall a little bit. Caution out.
Oh, right in front of the leaders. That is not good.
And the original caution was further back in the pack. Looks like the Looks like Rod Fosnaugh got turned around. Into turn 1, and he held on to that thing and then ended up finally losing it into the 27 truck. Cody.
Yeah, not really sure what the 83 was doing. I'm sure race control will have a word with him after the race, as he did not hold his brakes. You were saying Rod Fosnaugh was the caution?
Yeah, it looks like he had some.
Oh yeah, Robbie Armstrong
trouble
helping
with
him out.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. I'm not really sure what happened to the 83. He might have had some equipment failure or something, but that takes out Jarrett Rogers and Richard Springer.
Yeah, it looked like the 51 actually gave him a tap entering turn 3.
And that incident took out a couple of our big race contenders, but now we've Adam Free, 3rd place. Patrick Cowgill, 4th place. Cody Barber up into the top 5, started 17th.
Yeah, never really said his name tonight. He has a shot at a top 5, and so does the 88 of David Lindahl right behind him.
Austin Collins had a pretty solid start and involved in a couple pretty major incidents, up to 8th place. Corey Sherman also in some big wrecks, up to 10th place.
It will be a 4-lap shootout when we go back racing.
Thomas Harmon right now is definitely hoping that he gets a good enough restart, better than he's had all night, because for him to get that pass done, he's got to do it almost fully in 1 and 2, because he cannot get it done off turn 4. He's got to get cleared by the time he gets off of that 4th turn, or he's not getting this pass done.
Do you think we might see our Earnhardt Labonte finish?
It's possible. I'd like to think that it'll be pretty clean, but you never. These trucks double up.
Yep, will be 4 to go for Dakota Wilkins.
And we've got a limited amount of clean trucks left in this field.
Yeah, I think the cleanest one might be that 31 truck of Patrick Cowgill.
Yeah, both of our leaders got some rear end damage. We saw Thomas Harmon tag the wall a little bit on one of the.
As the pace goes off, green flag is out. Dakota Wilkins with a great restart. That's going to help him out 2 truck lengths in front of the 68.
That's not good for Thomas Harmon. He's got at least a truck length to make up before he gets that back bumper of Dakota.
3 laps to go. Cowgill might be able to clear the 29 for 3rd. It looks like he will.
Thomas Harmon trying to close the gap on Dakota Wilkins for 1st place. Still got a better truck length, in the straightaway. He gets sideways in turn 3, loses some time.
Yeah, that's definitely going to hurt him. 2 laps to go. If they can get to the start finish line without caution, this race
and
will
he closes
finish under green. Oh, he's going underneath. Side by side coming off of turn 4 at the white flag. This race will finish next time around. No more restarts.
And that time off turn 4, he was keeping a speed.
Oh, they made contact off the corner.
Contact.
Wilkins able to stay out in front. Cowgill to the
Patrick
inside.
Cowgill to the bottom. Dakota Wilkins takes it.
Dakota Wilkins, your winner tonight. Thomas Harmon 2nd, Patrick Cowgill 3rd, Adam Free 4th.
Cody Barger holds on to that 5th place. Fantastic run for him.
Quite an exciting finish. Glad I was able to end on a 4-lap green flag shootout.
Yeah, after everything that's happened tonight, it's great that they didn't have a lot of wrecks at the end there. You guys were able to keep it clean for a few laps and get us a nice finish.
Thaddeus Jackson giving him a little congratulations. This is Wilkins' first win of the 2020 season. Will lock him into the playoffs. Started all the way back in 33rd position.
From last to first, Dakota Wilkins. Fantastic run for that 44 truck. He and Jeremy Hebo had a eventful week last week at Texas.
They did indeed. I'm going to pull in our race winner, Dakota Wilkins. This broadcast booth, you have a copy?
Sure do.
Well, started all the way back in the 33rd position. You somehow managed to avoid the majority of the wrecks that had occurred tonight and led, I want to say, the last 50 plus laps of tonight's race. How were you able to keep the 68 of Thomas Harmon behind you the whole time?
With how many cautions we had, the inside wasn't going to really come in, and I know from watching last night's race, I kind of have an unfair advantage when the Grand National guys come up because I do race control there. I knew he liked the bottom, and he's really good at the bottom. So, but knowing that the bottom hadn't really came in yet, I knew if I could keep him down there, I'd be good. And 1 and 2, I got tight and was able to get under me down the backstretch, but I think we touched a little bit, and that kind of got him loose. So that pretty much sealed it for me winning it. But 2 tires paid off, so I'm happy about that. And I'm shocked. My night's been a complete horrible start of the night. My wheel wasn't working. I had like 3 laps of practice. Game crashed during qualifying, so it's been a hell of a night.
Yeah, and finishing second last week, you finally get your first win of the 2020 season, which will seal you into the playoffs. Have to feel pretty good about having that monkey off your back.
Oh yeah, definitely. Last year I came second a couple times. Bristol was one of the places where I finished second, so just mainly happy to get a win outside of a super speedway. I didn't want to have it stuck in my head that I could only win there, so definitely happy. Definitely, hopefully this is a sign of more wins to come, and I'm speechless right now.
And also with tonight's results, you will take over the points lead. How does that feel?
Exciting, but last time I had the points lead, it didn't go well for me. So hopefully it goes a little bit better this time, and I can hold on to it.
Ben, do you have anything for Dakota?
Just a really great race. We saw you basically driving through the top 10 at some point there. You had like 3 positions in 2 laps, so that was really awesome to watch. You did a great job tonight. Great job keeping your truck together, staying out of trouble, and yeah, it's a really good job.
Thank you, guys.
And let's see if we can pull in second place finisher, Thomas Harmon. Hey Thomas, this broadcast booth, you have a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, I got you.
Well, came up short tonight. You were second the majority of the race. You just couldn't get past the leader. What more would you have needed to be able to do so?
A long green flag run to work in the bottom, which was a little bit of a struggle tonight. We couldn't get that bottom worked in, so it just wouldn't. Wasn't much grip down there for us to work with, and it made it pretty much a one-line affair. And if you could hold the top line, you were good. No matter 2 tires, 4 tires, no tire.
We saw in the final couple laps, you and the 44 Dakota Wilkins actually made some contact on the backstretch. Was that on purpose? Were you trying to get him a little loose? Were you planning a little Labonte Earnhardt?
No, I slid up. I had the brake. My brake box was only at 52%, so I was loose on exit when I was under a truck for about 5 laps after a restart, and then when I think it was out of turn 2 when I slid up into him. I wasn't trying to get into him or anything. It just slid up on me, and I almost lost it completely there on that last lap.
Well, you definitely put on a heck of a race. Started third, finishing second. Your truck's relatively clean, a little damage to that back bumper, but great job out there tonight. Ben, do you have anything for Thomas?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I expect a little bit more after watching you run last night. I saw you lead most of practice tonight, and you were rolling that bottom side really well. I just kind of disappointed that you couldn't get that bottom side working better. No green flag runs, no time to really rubber it in. It was just unfortunate that you didn't really have much time to do that, because I know you had a fast truck. If you could rubber in that bottom side and get past those guys on top. But yeah, good run all around. Good job staying out of trouble, Tom.
Thank you.
Do you have any shout outs you'd like to give out before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to all the competitors that come out tonight and made the race interesting. Shout out to you guys up in the booth for broadcasting it to everybody, all the DRL admins and race control that deal with us every week. Avril for being on the truck, S2R teammates, and Dimitri up in the spotter stand again for me tonight.
Alrighty, Thomas, congrats again on your podium, and Grand National is actually off next week, so we'll see you in a couple weeks at Rockingham.
Yep, I'll be there.
Alrighty, have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
And last but not least, let's see if we can pull in third place finisher Patrick Cowgill. Hey, Patrick, this is broadcast booth. Do you have a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Well, sir, I believe you have the cleanest truck on the track tonight. Must be an accomplishment. Started in the fourth position, coming home third place. It looked like you almost had a shot at winning when the front two made contact in front of you. Walk us through the end.
Oh, I was hoping they were going to spin so bad, but they ended up keeping it. And then right there off at turn 4, Harmon was a little bit slow coming off the corner, and I thought maybe I could get him, but he got enough of a run that it kind of screwed me there.
Yeah, you've definitely shown your speed since the beginning of this season. You're definitely going to get your first win sooner rather than later. We're heading to Chicagoland next week. How do you feel about that racetrack?
Honestly, I actually liked that track. I did a couple of official races there, and it was pretty good.
Definitely going to be a change of scenery compared to tonight with all these cautions. You guys have been, the whole Truck Series has been doing a phenomenal job on the bigger 1.5 mile tracks and up. Should be a lot less wrecks, that's for sure. Ben, do you have anything for Mr. Cowgill?
Just a great run. We saw you have one of the cleanest trucks in the field, so great job keeping your truck clean and keeping your equipment good to go. You did a really good job of just staying inside the top 10, keeping it clean, staying out of trouble. So,
Surprisingly, I actually have a 0 incident count.
There you go. You might be the only one earning those bonus points tonight. That's going to help you out in the standings. Your second top 5 of the season as well. So congratulations on that achievement. Do you have any shout outs you'd like to give out before we let you go?
Just to anybody watching, and shout out to Jim. He's my teammate, and I feel bad for him because he kind of got wrecked out of the race. But next week, Chicagoland, he should be pretty good.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to that one. We'll see you next week at Chicago. Have a great night, and congrats again on your third place finish.
Yep, thank you. You have a good night, too.
That was Patrick Cowgill, third place finisher. Let's see if we can take a look at these unofficial results. Dakota Wilkins coming home your race winner. You heard it from him. 2 tires was the difference, leading, I believe, the last 60 laps of the race, if I'm not mistaken. That he came out in the lead and never looked back. So a great strategy by him taking those 2 tires. Thomas Harmon coming home second. Patrick Cowgill third. Adam Furey fourth. Cody Barber, fantastic finish for him, rounding out the top 5. Austin Collins 6th, David Lindahl 7th, Corey Sherman 8th, Cody Gasky getting the 9th position, and Dustin Eichert rounding out the top 10. 11th belongs to Daniel Holloway, 12th Adam Breeden, 13th Siderius Jackson, 14th William Wingfield, Steven Sims comes home 15th, 16th Robbie Armstrong, 17th Rod Fosnar, Richard Springer, who started on the pole, had a fast truck all night long, comes home 18th, and Jarrett Rogers right behind him in 19th, and rounding out the top 20 is the 81 truck of Randy Rockwell. 21st goes to Terrence Sinay, 22nd David Wright, 23rd Adam Purcell, Ted Emenheiser 24th, Jim Westerfield 25th, David Woburn Jr. 26th, 27th Andrew York, Dustin Jones 28th, Dominic Mangione 29th, and Ronnie Outlaw rounds out the top 30. 31st belongs to Jared Gordon, Brent Kincott 32nd, 33rd Hayden Ashby, and Scott Griswold ends up 34th. Sorry about that. That's a lot of names to say. The next race for the Dynasty Racing League is the Dynasty Racing League Truck Series at Chicagoland. That's 100 laps on the 1.5 mile track. Be sure to tune in next week, April 14th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you to everybody that makes Dynasty Racing League possible. James Fandorf with Owner Financial. Thank you to all the broadcasters, David Warburton Jr., who does Grand National Series. Thank you to the special guests we've had each week. Ben Izenga, thank you for joining me in the booth tonight. Pleasure having you. Thank you to Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Rod Fosnar, and several others who have joined us throughout this season. Thank you to Jordan Gonzalez and Martin Wenzel for doing the graphics and the technical support. Thank you to race controllers, Dakota Walkins, James Pandolf, Jeremy Hebel, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Mike Springer, who joined us in the Truck Series race control tonight. Thank you to all the admins, James Pandolf, Gary Buckner, Martin Wenzel, David Warburton Jr. Well, Ben, interesting race to say the least. Dakota Walkins bringing home his first victory of the 2020 season. What are your takeaways from tonight?
Yeah, we saw a lot of really, really good racing, a lot of close racing. I feel like if we got some more green flag laps, just like Tom said, that bottom would have worked in a lot better and it would have been a lot better racing. But yeah, we saw some really tight racing up in the top four anyways. You throw a blanket over them most of the race. So even with all the cautions we saw a lot of really close restarts, a lot of really close racing, and it was a pretty good race to watch overall.
It absolutely was. I'm looking forward to seeing next week. As I said earlier, the Grand National Series will be off. So enjoy your week off, Ben. I'm hoping to see you in the booth next week. We'll talk about that at a later date. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in to DRL TV. This was the Bristol Motor Speedway 150 for the Dynasty Racing League Truck Series. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.